everyone, and welcome to another episode of In the Studio. I'm your host, Lynn Weaver. Well, something very exciting is happening in Davis these days. The Davis chapter of the League of Women Voters is back. After 5 years of declining membership, which prompted its disband, a number of very concerned and dedicated citizens of Davis decided to bring it back. As many of you may know, it was founded in 1920 to support mainly the suffrage of women's rights. And the interesting fact is that the founding of this league was just 6 months before the 19th Amendment to the United States Constitution gave women the right to vote. Now, in 1973, the charter of the National League of Women Voters was modified to include men. And one of the things that is very important to be said is that officially the National League of Women Voters is a non-partisan organization, which means that it neither supports nor opposes any candidate or any party in this country. Well, I have here today 3 wonderful guests. I have Mary Jo Bryan, the new Davis League acting president or director. Bob Funk, the acting vice president of the league, and Georgina Valencia, the acting secretary. Welcome all, and thank you for being here.
Thank you.
Now, I'm going to start with a couple of questions. The obvious one is, and Mary Jo, if you could answer that, what is the principal goal of this revival, and why do you think it's very necessary to have a Davis chapter of the League?
Well, thank you very much for doing this, because I think that all of us feel the importance, and what we've discovered is that there's a great feeling of importance throughout this community to restore the League of Women Voters back to Davis.
Yes.
And just to give a little bit of a further history too, the League had been started back in 1959 at the sort of the beginning of the onslaught of the city of Davis and what it was becoming in a university town, and was very active in planning and voter education, all kinds of things, very strong, and was like that for many years. So when 2014 came along, we had, the leadership they could not find new leadership to take it over, and so they did disband on that. But sometimes in having a hiatus like that, people see the importance of something and bring it back on a different level.
Absolutely true.
And I think this is what we're doing. Last year when I was running for city council, I realized how difficult it was to get information out to the general public. With declining readership of papers and other restricted sources, and Civ Energy did a great job of trying to do that, but name recognition wasn't there.
Yes.
The League of Women Voters has a great name recognition for voter service, nonpartisanship, study, research, taking positions on various issues that they have decided to take a position on. And with all that in mind, when I started talking to people, I can't believe that the cadre of people that I have working with me is incredible.
Yes.
So I'm willing to take this on, and I'm so thrilled that we are doing this, and that we're doing it with Men Are In.
Yes.
And we have, and
Yes.
it's a wonderful organization. I've belonged to it since 1960.
Yes, I was also a member.
1969.
69.
Yeah.
I was also a member for many years back in Massachusetts, and I always valued the incredible service that they do, and their presence is essential, not to mention in this particular climate, political climate now, with the new election coming next year.
We have very strong positions on a variety of issues on both the national the state, and the local issues. So when you become a member of the League, you become a member of all three.
Yes.
And you can play a vital part in regards to that on your local level, on your state level, and with the National League.
Well, it's very good to know. And Georgina reminded me a little while ago that they still, you will soon have a website because you are still in the process of being registered. Isn't that right?
That's absolutely right, Lynn.
Yes.
We actually had our first meeting on May 29th, which is not that long ago.
No.
And our second meeting on June 25th. And I'm happy to say both meetings, they were organizational meetings. And that's how you start this process. They have 15 steps that you take off the website from the California State League. And we've made it to step 7, and that's where you put a package together of your governing documents and applications that have come in, and create those documents and send it into the league itself, the state league, which we did that on July 10th, and they'll be reviewing it before the board on August 3rd, and we hope at our August 7th meeting to announce that we get the
Official.
yeah, exactly. Exactly.
Well, that's wonderful. But in the meantime, you can go to another website, and I'll
Right.
come to Bob,
Right.
who is the founder of Civ Energy.
Right.
And Bob, can you explain a little bit how your organization integrates or fits in with the League of Women Voters?
Sure,
Davis?
sure.
And of course, you are the vice president. so-
Right.
Yes.
So Civ Energy, I founded it in about 2014, and there was an election, a city council election, and I worked with the league before they disbanded in order to take the forum, the city council forum that they did, and to put it on the internet so that people didn't have to be at the forum. They could watch bits of the forum
Remotely.
remotely.
Oh, that's wonderful.
And that
yes.
was my plan all along, to work with the League of Women Voters, that the league would do in-person forums, and the Civ Energy would do the online discussions, continued discussions before and after the forum.
And your technical background certainly is very handy
Yeah.
for the league and
Right.
for everybody, actually. Yes, it's
So-
true. Yeah.
So after the league disbanded, Civ Energy not only did the online discussions, but we have been putting on forums. We put on a forum when Mary Jo was running for city council in 2018, and it was a very successful forum. We had around 300 people at
Yeah.
the Davis Community Church there, and so I would, connecting Civ Energy with the League of Women Voters is sort of putting the online discussion together with the traditional in-person forums and the other things that the league does, voter registration, analysis of issues, all those
Well,
we'll
that
be working
sounds
together
wonderful.
with.
So you're adding a new 21st century dimension
That's
to
right.
the league,
Yeah.
which is in somewhat a bit of a goal of Mary Jo and all of you, the leaderships, to bring this chapter
Right.
to the 21st century, as I said. The website of Civ Energy is very, very easy, and it will display on our screen. It's www.civenergy.org.
Right.
Yes.
That's right.
And you can be reached, I imagine,
Yes.
at your website.
Yes.
For any questions.
Right.
And then, of course, you will probably announce when the league website will come into being.
That's
right?
right. Yes.
Well, this is wonderful. I wanted to I wanted to ask Georgina how your work. You are a member or the chair, I believe, of
Yes.
the City Social Services Commission.
I am.
And so, of course, it seems obvious to me, but maybe not to everybody. How does your work for the city, for the commission, fit in with the work you are planning to do?
Right. Well, I think it's really trying to understand what the issues are in the community, what the public concern is. For instance, there was a survey done recently that the city asked a consultant to do, and one of the top issues of that was housing affordability. And that is one of the mission statements, if you will, for the Social Services Commission. So we
Yes.
meet on that and we talk on that. In fact, we had a very robust meeting on this last Monday evening in regards to housing and our housing policies here in the community. So, you know, that's one of the pieces, if you will,
Yes.
that fits really well.
Yes.
And so it just seems that I'm on the Social Services Commission and it just makes sense for me to be a part of the League of Women Voters. But I'd like to add one thing too,
Yes.
and that's really to commend Mary Jo, because she's the person that really kind of connected us all together. And honestly, if I hadn't run into her on the street and she looked me right in the eye and said, you know, I want to start the League of Women Voters, and I said, I can't believe there isn't one in Davis, you know, because it's such a Davis thing. It's a Davis ethos to really be involved. And so she's really the firebrand behind it all.
Mary Jo has a long history of volunteering in Davis and doing fantastic things for the community. So thank you.
Oh, you're welcome.
And this is just a very creative idea that
Well-
other people should have thought of, but nobody did.
Democracy is a part of participatory sport.
Yes.
And we have to get people involved.
Yes.
And when that survey came out, and you
Yes.
saw that from people, but there were things in it that people need to learn about, the process, how it happens,
Oh, yes.
how to participate, and that's what the League can
Yes.
be
Yeah.
do. And
Yes.
with the help of Civ Energy, we've got a much
Yes.
broader way of contacting people, and I think that's so important.
I think you're absolutely right. And it always amazes me how little people, especially young people, now, how little they know about the process of voting and participating in political discourse and all these things that are essential, and they're not really taught in school and even at university, unless you are in political science or something. They're not, and it's a must for our democracy. And so, but I wanted to ask, and this time I'm going to ask each of you, so you can start. You can choose who's going to start. What are the challenges of currently faces the League in our region and perhaps nationally as well? And choose one or two. I mean, there are many challenges these days.
I can start.
Okay, good.
So in our first meeting, Gloria Partida, the mayor pro tem, came to the meeting, and when she came up to the front to give a little discussion point, and her discussion point was on the fact that she thought that the League in Davis and in the state and nationally needed to be much more diverse. So if you look at the the population, the League needs more men, and it needs more younger people.
Yes.
Needs more people of color,
Yeah.
and we encourage everybody to come to our meetings and to participate.
Yes. Well, who's next?
Yeah, I think there's some goals that I would say are not maybe at a higher level, but for us, because we're at such early stages, one of our biggest goals is really membership.
Yes.
And diversity is obviously very important, but we also need to get members. And our outreach for those members. We're doing it in various ways. I mean, this is a great format, and we really
Yes.
appreciate
Yeah.
your interviewing us today, because I believe that helps us too. But we've been working with the Davis Enterprise, Davis Vanguard, any way that we can to let the community know that we're here and we're coming back, and we need their support. So
It's essential, and I was going to ask you that in my next question. Yes, I'm planning to have you back in a few months,
thank
so
you.
we can
Yeah.
mark the progress, and outreach is so difficult because everybody's saturated with things. Mary Jo.
Well, I'll take a little different thing. So, yes,
Yes.
I mean, it's basically understanding the League process and
Yes.
its nonpartisanship.
Yes.
It is not. I mean, it takes positions on issues. So we have a housing issue, an air quality issue, and we will lobby for those. We will never take a position, as we mentioned, on a candidate or a party. And that's very important. But in that process, you have to do some research and study.
Yes.
And sometimes we are, people feel that we are too slow to act. But I can tell you, I have been in the League since, like I said, 1969, 1970, and I reviewed our local positions that were put together back in 1995 and updated, and they are relevant today, very, very much so. They need to be tweaked, they need to be active, they maybe needed to be rounded out into, but they're right on course. And I just think it's important that you have the background of knowledge and research behind you before you go forward, because I think we've all learned how complicated situations are, funding, all these kinds of things.
Yes.
So that's
well, and of course you have to prioritize. But I'm so happy you mentioned that you know, the issues and not the people. Especially nowadays, it's all about personalities and people, and the issues are all that matters, whether you are you know, Republican, Democrat, I don't know, Mr. Smith or Mrs. Goody, you know, it doesn't matter. And I think that young people need to understand that in this culture of memes and you know, icons. There is one last question, because I'm afraid we're running out of time. It's amazing how 15 minutes go very fast when things are very important. I wanted to ask you, basically you've already answered all that, but Georgina mentioned outreach. Obviously you want to expand participation and include young people, minorities and men and so on. Are you working on a strategy to do that?
Well, I'm hesitant to say too much right at this point. We are. So
Yes.
the answer is yes,
Good.
we are.
Yes.
And one of the things that we're doing that's a little bit different from the original Davis chapter is it was really about Davis. And
Yes.
what we're looking at is Yolo County. And we believe that that will help bring us more diversity,
I
too.
agree.
So
Yes.
that's
Yes.
one of our strategies.
Yes.
But there's others. We'll wait next time you have
absolutely.
us.
I'm glad that you're thinking of this. And I noticed that there is a woodland chapter.
There is a woodland chapter.
And I was wondering whether you could, you know, combine your strengths in some.
We've
yeah.
actually talked about that and met with them and gone to their annual meeting,
Good.
and they're very
Good.
receptive.
Good. And perhaps there's one in Sacramento. Who knows?
Yes.
Though there is.
But
yes.
there is, yes.
Yes, but not West Sacramento, and not Dixon. I mean, not Winters, and
Yes.
not Esparto, and not, you know. So there's
Right.
definitely places that could use the outreach and what we do
Yeah,
for them.
and sort of help one another.
Yeah.
I'm afraid our time is up. It's terrible. So thank you so much. My heartfelt thank you and appreciation for what you do for the community. Bob Fung, the Vice President of the Davis chapter of the the League of Women Voters.
Thank you, Lynn.
Georgina, the secretary of the acting secretary,
Yes,
no longer acting in a few weeks, I'm sure,
Oh,
of the League, and Mary Jo, the acting president. Thank you so much. And again, go to Civ Energy website to find out more about what Bob and his organization do. And thank you all of you for watching. If you enjoyed this episode, you can always watch it again by streaming it at dctv.davismedia.org. And while you're there, you can look at some of the other shows that we have. We have incredible guests and very interesting topics. So once again, thank you for watching, and see you next time.